Hi everyone, this is Susan Johnston with the Urban Muse, and today I'd like to share 5 sources of freelance writing projects. I know that finding decent paying writing projects can be a challenge for many writers, especially those who are just starting out. So I want to encourage you to look beyond the bidding sites, content mills, and job boards. Instead, look to your network. Here are the 5 areas I'll touch on: past employers, agencies, creative staffing firms, current clients, and other freelancers. Don't worry if you don't have all of these in your network just yet, as I'll share some tips for building your network. You'll notice that referrals are a common theme that runs throughout this presentation. First up, past employers. Now, it's fairly common, at least in my freelance circle, to use your past employer as one of your first full-time freelance clients. I actually did this when I left my job about 3 years ago. I turned in my letter of resignation from full-time work, and I mentioned that I'd be interested in continuing as a part-time hourly contractor. I offered to train my replacement and finish some of the projects I'd been working on. It's a little bit different from someone who's moving on to another company, but my boss loved the idea because it meant a smoother transition, and it also allowed them to tap into my expertise without paying a full-time salary. If you don't negotiate freelance terms before you leave your job, you can always reconnect with your employer via LinkedIn and let them know that you're available for freelance projects. It's also a good idea to stay in touch with coworkers because as they move around from company to company, they may be able to connect you with opportunities in other places as well. Former coworkers and bosses can also be a good source of referrals because they know your work. So be sure to ask for referrals when appropriate. Agencies are another source of freelance projects because they sometimes need to outsource expertise to meet their clients' needs. This can include marketing or advertising agencies, copywriting firms, consulting firms that need materials prepared for clients, and you could be working virtually, or they might ask you to come into the agency's office for a creative briefing or a brainstorming session. Often these agencies will set up subcontracting agreements, which means they'll serve as the point of contact for the client and pay you out of the money that the client pays them for the project. This can be beneficial to you because it means you can focus on the work rather than finding the work or managing the project. Also, agencies can sometimes land bigger clients than an individual writer would be able to land on her own. Creative staffing firms are similar in that they also work with clients, but they're typically recruiting creative talent rather than doing part of the work themselves. Again, they sometimes land bigger clients than you'd get on your own, and they take care of a lot of the business development side of things, so you can focus on the creative work. You can get noticed by recruiters at creative staffing firms by creating a presence on LinkedIn, or you could use a more specialized site like creativehotlist.com. I've been contacted by recruiters on both sites, so I can attest to the fact that it really does work. Oftentimes, these recruiters may not have a project for you right away, but they're trying to fill their roster for a time when they do need your creative talents. So when you're working with creative staffing firms, it's important to be patient and stay in touch in case the right project does come up. And if you get offered a project that's not quite right for you, or it comes at a time when you're too busy, you can offer a referral to a colleague. Creative staffing firms love referrals, so they sometimes offer referral bonuses. That means that in addition to improving the relationship with the recruiter and your colleague, you might also get a little bit of money out of it as well. Now, you also want to think about how you can maximize relationships with your current clients. Assuming that you deliver what the client wants, it's often much easier to convince them to hire you again versus cultivating a brand new client and building that relationship and trust. Always do your best work and offer suggestions on how you can work together in the future. Say, for instance, you're blogging for a corporate client and you notice that they don't have a Facebook page or a Twitter feed. Look for those gaps and suggest ways that you can fill them in. When you're in between projects, you could stay in touch with recent clients through LinkedIn, or you could send periodic emails to find out if they have any upcoming projects. Also, if the client is really happy with your work, ask for a referral or a testimonial. Chances are good that they might know someone, could be in the same company or it could be a similar company who could use your services as well. Now, a lot of freelancers see other freelancers as competition, But your freelance cohorts can be a great source of referrals or sometimes subcontracting agreements. You might get a referral from another writer who's too busy to take on more work or who feels that the client's needs are outside of his or her area of expertise. Or in some cases, if the freelancer wants to stay involved with the client, they might suggest a subcontracting arrangement so they can oversee the project. Of course, you can also look outside your immediate circle and find freelancers in related areas that you can partner with. As a writer, I sometimes refer graphic designers or photographers to my clients, and sometimes they're in a position to do likewise. Most of my connections to other freelancers are through social media or in-person networking, so I think those are a great way to start building those connections. Lastly, I really, really believe in the power of karma. So when I refer someone to a project, I get the satisfaction out of helping that person, and hopefully I also get referrals from others later, which directly benefits me. If you get a referral, be sure to show your appreciation and follow through, because there are few things worse than giving a referral and then finding out that the person dropped the ball. It reflects poorly on me or you, the other freelancer, so don't flake out when someone is handing you an opportunity. How do we put all these tips together? Well, it comes down to building your network and getting and giving referrals. Understand that this won't happen overnight, but these relationships can pay off months or even years later. Offering referrals can help you solidify these connections and establish yourself as a resource, both to other freelancers and to prospective clients. The great thing about finding work through networking versus bidding sites or content mills or job ads is that it helps empower you to charge what you're worth. You're really in the driver's seat versus being at the mercy of a client and what they're willing to pay you. Now, not every referral will be willing to pay top dollar, but if you build a strong network and deliver high quality work, you should be able to find those high paying projects over time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this helpful.